First question I always start off with is, um, how's life, man? How's life been treating you?
Nah, bro, it's been good, man. It's been a vibe. It's definitely just trying to figure things out. We're all at that age now, or especially for us two. In the mid to late 20s, even 30s. Everyone's just trying to figure things out, and yeah, stay busy and stay motivated, which is always hard to do. But at the end of the day, and I figured this out. It's weird. I'm 24 now, and I only just figured this out. But it was the concept of really trying to focus on the positive things that you have, rather than trying to compare yourself to the things you don't have that others do.
Beautiful.
And yeah, that was something that I think that is a big, I guess, motto of mine trying to go into this year. And yeah, really focusing on the things that I have in my life that I guess others don't, or even just things I can appreciate more. And yeah, it's really trying to think that those are the things I should be saying.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
what I've got, rather than things that like I don't have, and I'm like, oh, those people have that. I feel like I should be doing more like them, but at the same time, I feel like everyone's always comparing. Everyone's thinking that it's the
100%.
same thing on the other side. So I think focusing on the positive things,
Beautiful. And as you mentioned with appreciation as well, like depending on who you are, appreciation can have a type of effect to a certain person who, can see it as motivation, as drive, or can see it as a way to be like, appreciate your wins, your losses, and have that kind of sense.
Definitely.
But yeah, in terms of like how life is treating you, bro, and everything like that, it's always like that rough patch when you first start, and also just trying to figure it out, have people around you, a good system.
Hard out.
And as you mentioned before with comparing and all that stuff as well, comparison kills, man.
Yeah, definitely, bro. Comparison kills all the time, man. It's just trying to figure out, if there's a way of comparing yourself that's healthy, where you can motivate yourself to be better and to strive for bigger things and people that inspire you. And also trying to figure out where the negative sides of it is, when comparing yourself too much to the point where you're trying to be perfect, which is impossible. It's impossible to be perfect. So yeah, just trying to figure all those things out, man. But it's been good.
Oh, I love that, G.
Yo.
And for the people who, are listening in today, the next question I got for you, bro, is who is Cam?
Who is Cam? Yeah, bro. So I mean, hey, I'm Cam. I'm Cameron Carter-Chan. I am a creative. I'm an actor. I'm a dancer, a performer, and have been within the performing arts industry ever since I was like 4 years old, which was 20 years ago now. So, I always see myself as someone who strives in and thrives in, should I say, in a space where I can make others happy. Nice. And that could be through laughs, could be through entertainment. It could be through teaching something that I can offer.
Yeah, 100%.
And yeah, I feel like in the area of performing arts, I feel like I can always do that, whether it's being myself and doing that, or if it's being a character or someone else that I can portray to provide happiness to others. And I feel like that's something that I want to always try to do. So yeah, big question, who is Cam?
Yeah, it's a real broad question, bro.
It is, bro. Yeah.
I always put that one in there because like sometimes, like for example, how you mentioned it, I'm Cameron Carter-Chan, and you had your story.
Yep.
Some other people would just be like, oh, this is me, this is this, and this is it. So everyone has their own interpretation of that one question, which, gives a whole, like, in my head, is like that one question, even though it's broad, it will tell me a lot about the person on how they think.
Definitely.
Whether they give an insightful way that they have approached it, or it's just a basic overview. A literal one. So each has their own.
No, me.
And it's, since I've known you as well, being in the performing arts industry, we worked a bit together as well.
Hard out.
Ups and downs within ups and downs
as always, as different parts of work and stuff.
But in terms of like, your journey in the performing arts industry, like what got you into it at first, or how did you like start things with it?
Yeah, bro. So for performing arts, I started off as a dancer when I was a kid. My family and mostly my mum, she ran a dance studio out in East Auckland. It was called Carter-Chan Dance. And she ran that studio for, I hope I don't get the number wrong, I think it was 33 years. So it was a very long time. Was very successful. And yeah, myself, my older brother Brandon, and my younger sister Shania, we all grew up dancing throughout that dance studio. And my dad was kind of our little, our cheerer from the sides, helping with the business sides of it. But yeah, I was kind of born into it in a way. I was born into a family of dancers, a family of creatives. And yeah, throughout my years of dancing, I was involved in a lot of different scenes where it was different dance studios or it was different street dance communities, competitive, non-competitive. It was a lot of different things. But majority, performing arts started for me through dance. And as I grew older, probably in my last few years of high school, I discovered that I had this little passion that I was drawn to for acting. And I honestly don't know where it came from. I feel like it was always there, but it just had that one opportunity or this one person to try and get that out of me. And I think it was probably just my drama teacher in high school. She was an amazing person, and she really encouraged me to do something that I thought wasn't for me. And as I gave it a go, I found that I really enjoyed it, and it was a space that I was already used to, being on stage. This was theater acting. When I first started doing acting was through there.
Oh wow.
And being on stage kind of merged both my worlds together of dancing on stage and then now acting on stage, and I was like, oh wow, you know what, this is actually so cool. So through there, man, I just kind of found a few little steps into acting, just kind of testing the waters. And then throughout my last few years at university, where I studied a communications degree through television and radio. So again, television was still in there, still had that little bit there. I think I decided to myself, I want to give this acting thing a go for real. So I ended up, taking classes, upskilling, trying to meet new people within that industry. And now I think I finished in 2020 or end of 2022. Was my end of the year. Oh, sorry, 2023 actually. 2023, sorry, for my university degree. So for the last year and a bit, I've been just trying to focus on trying to do acting full time, which is it's been very tough. It's been a big learning journey, and I'm still like learning so much. And at the end of the day, I'm enjoying every step of it. So it's
100%. You have to enjoy the process and the journey it gives.
Definitely, yeah.
With the as you mentioned, your drama teacher was the one who inspired you, eh?
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
With that, your drama teacher, was that a pivotal moment for you? That kind of when you realized that the performing arts or like that type of scenery was for you, or was it before with your parents and your mum and them, your sister and all that?
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's an interesting question. I think when I kind of pivoted towards acting over dance, it was probably that moment when I was kind of finding what I wanted to do and finding myself at the end of high school, as most kids do. And that probably was a big moment for me. I think I always had a connection to performing, entertaining, and I guess being myself and showing that to others.
100%.
And that could have been in a way of dancing on stage, presenting and hosting a performance. I even grew up singing as well on stage. So singing as well. Like I'd always be in a space where I enjoyed showing who I was to others in a way through entertainment. And I think with acting, it gave me the opportunity to do that, but it also allowed me to explore different parts of myself and very vulnerable parts of myself that I didn't think I could find the courage to show to others.
Yeah.
I found that a very deep connection to that when I started to create and find characters that I could play through acting. And it was a real big thing for me, because I was like, wow, I could actually still do what I love and perform to people, entertain people, but I can also find the deeper parts of myself that I usually wouldn't show to others, but show them in a way that doesn't affect me, I guess, outside of the acting world, because I'm playing a character that's not me, but it is me, It's this interesting thing. So it was a way of, really trying to, a way of discovering myself through this different thing that was acting. And I just thought it was so cool. And I think, it was like you said, a process of through my parents, through my dance. But then I think as soon as I matured, became older, in my 20s, it just became a thing where I was like, you know what, this is something I want to do. I really love exploring myself in different ways.
Yeah.
And acting was just a platform for me to do that, expressively. Yeah.
I feel like even with just actors in general, they, when they certainly experience, the character, they fully get into the mode.
Yo.
They kind of have that little switch within them, like, okay, sweet, when they switch between certain characters and you have that little pause. I've noticed, like, I think one of my other mates, because she's an actor as well.
Yeah.
I was aspiring to be one.
Yo.
For her, it was just she said something about her having the struggle of sometimes when they've played a character for too long, it ends up being an embodiment of them.
Yeah.
So it's like, I never really got or understood that, but I was just wondering from that perspective or from what she has mentioned to me, is that actually like something that really happens in the acting industry in terms of like people, like for example, how you said you're refining yourself. Sometimes when they've played a character for so long or when they've played something that they really love, they end up having that persona and keeping it in that way. Like, do you reckon that's something, or like, have you realized that that's something that's real big in the acting industry or something like that?
Yeah, bro. No, it's a real good question. I think for me, because I haven't, I guess, had the opportunity yet to have played a role for a long period of time, I don't think I'd be able to comment on that in terms of the industry. But
wait, just quickly, is a month or 2 months a long too?
I mean, yeah, definitely, bro. I mean, yeah, a month or two, like, for sure, man. Like,
no shade on her, but
no, definitely though. Like, a month or 2 months of work, like, it definitely does. That is a long time, man. And for people like me, aspiring to be actors, and I do call myself an actor because it is what I want to do, and
100%.
I always, want to manifest and say that this is what I want to do. This is who I am.
I love that.
And but just to go back to your question, I think, even for myself, say, for example, if I'm playing a character in class, right, and over the few weeks of my acting classes, I have to try and create this character and play this character. I guess for myself, I was taught in a way to create a character under an imaginary circumstance, but use something realistic. So, for example, if I'm creating a character who the backstory of it maybe could be his mum died in a car crash. He's an alcoholic and he's trying to find his way in the world, right? I can obviously get into that space when I'm in the zone and I'm playing the character. And it can be real hurtful because I'm feeling all these emotions of, I've lost my mum and my life is going to hell. But as soon as they say cut or as soon as the camera is over, we were taught in a way of, without trying to keep those things with us, when we walk out of the room, it's that realistic thing that I would bring to it, which would be, say, for example, my mum has died, right?
Yeah.
In my character, my mum is dead, and I'm thinking about that all the time. The easiest way to do that is to call my mum straight away and to be like, hey, I love you, and just realize, wait, she's not actually dead,
Yeah, fair.
And it's having something realistic that can make you feel these things and create your character, but at the end of the day, it's imaginary. It's not real. So I think when you say like actors have a character for a long time and they create this persona and they create these emotions, in order for that not to become them, I think it's really important not to give yourself too many realistic things to create that character, because then your life, like you said, is going to become that. So I think always trying to keep your acting and your characters within an imaginary place so that, at the end of the day, they can't affect you outside of your work or outside of your play that you're doing. So, But again, it's something that I definitely haven't experienced yet in terms of actually work, like in working on a show or a film or something like that. But, it's definitely something I keep an eye on,
Nice.
to make sure that, at the end of the day, your play is the work, and then your work is the play, rather than having it affect you outside of everything.
Are there any like for example, everyone has certain inspirations when they have like we could say. So I don't really know much about the whole acting scene. But within, like, for example, in life, everyone has like a mentor or someone who they kind of like the style of or idolize. Well, not idolize is a big word. Or not really idolize, but they like the style of a certain like actor that they use. For example, like if I was, well, I don't know much actors, to be honest.
No.
But like, let's just say that in anime, like so there's some characters in the anime, like I'll be like, oh, yo, that guy, and then you see him in the corner, it's like. It's like, is there like a person or inspiration who you've like adapted your style to or like learned from in terms of the acting career?
Yeah, bro. No, definitely, man. I think in terms of like In terms of comedy, I grew up absolutely loving Will Smith. He was probably one of my biggest inspirations in terms of comedy because his comedic timing and his ability to be so natural, so unapologetically funny. I found it so captivating because he was never trying to be funny. He was just funny.
Yeah.
And he had such a versatile way of performing where he could also be able to have a character that has all these funny moments, but they can also pull back to having a deeper understanding of emotion as well.
Wow.
And I think he was a big inspiration for me as I was growing up. And looking back at it, yeah, he's definitely someone I really enjoyed and really inspired to, I guess, take some creative advice from.
Yeah, nice.
And I'd probably say another actor that I really aspire to in terms of like a dramatic sense as well would probably be Andrew Garfield. He was a really, really amazing actor that I think is one of my biggest inspirations at the moment because, yeah, his emotional range, his way of playing characters that seem so unsure of themselves, whereas
Wow.
I just don't know how you can play something like that when you have to be so sure of your character and you have to be so specific of what you're doing with your character and what your character wants, needs, their intentions. But whenever he plays these characters, they always seem like they don't know what they're doing. And it's so cool to see that polar opposite. And yeah, I think he's a real amazing actor as well. So yeah, Will Smith, Andrew Garfield are two probably amazing ones. There's a whole plethora of others.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, there'll be two ones that pop into my mind right now. So
Andrew
yeah.
Garfield, the Spider-Man, eh?
Yeah, Spider-Man, yeah.
So I'm like, I know that name.
No. Even that role, bro. Like, as much as it's a superhero film, like, I feel like he had such a dramatic take into that role, and I thought it was so beautiful, man. And he's such a nonchalant actor. He's very humble, and I think being a humble person and being a very, I guess a good person on the outside of things.
Yeah.
That really translates into their craft. You know.
Wow.
So yeah, no, definitely, man.
I feel like just in terms of like the whole like with Andrew Garfield, I feel like in Spider-Man he really played his character like pretty good as well.
Yo.
Like, you know, coming down to the emotion behind it, when he lost Gwen and all that stuff, you know,
bro, yeah. Crazy, yeah.
And like leading on to like what's the recent Spider-Man? One of the other Spider-Mans just came out recently. You know, the emotion when Zendaya fell down.
Yeah,
and just that whole moment, like but just the emotion on his face.
Oh, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. He really just captivates you in a sense of, and it's this thing with emotion, right? When you watch films a lot of the time, you can tell an actor is feeling it when you can see that they're not trying to show you that they're feeling it. You can just tell that they are. Like an actor who's performing a scene and they're bawling their eyes out will not affect you as much as an actor who is trying not to cry. Like, if an actor is trying not to cry, you can feel that they're trying not to show that emotion, but they have it. But an actor who is just bawling their eyes out, you can tell that they're just trying to show that emotion for the sake of showing it.
Wow.
And I feel like Andrew Garfield is that type of guy who just like, you can tell he always has it here, but he's never trying to like perform. He's just being natural, you know? And he's awesome, man. He's so sick.
You can tell it also comes to just also his personality in general as well.
Yeah,
like,
no, for sure.
Plays a big part in how things kind of go.
100%, bro. Definitely. Being humble, being very appreciative of the people around you. And yeah, he's never got an ego. I've never seen him with an ego, but he also knows what he's talking about. You know, he knows that he knows his craft and he's very humble with it though. So yeah.
Just also, you know, we'll go back because I definitely also want to hear with, you know, acting in general, from what I know, kind of what I like in terms of what I know and what I've heard from the outscopes as well. It's not actually a big industry here. Like in NZ, correct me if I'm wrong as well. If it ever does come up, are there any like difficult hurdles within the like career that you faced? Like by chance so far?
Yeah, man.
Or like
definitely.
anything that's happening that's stopping you from, you know, pushing further and further within it?
No, 100%, man. I think to go off the first part of your question, I think the acting industry in New Zealand is becoming and is at the moment a lot bigger than what it was maybe 10, 15 years ago. It is growing in a very, very fast rate. Or I could say that it was growing at a very fast rate. And I think COVID was a big impact to just the industry having troubles with trying to, have sets with, over 100, 200 people. Having
Wow.
COVID was so hard to make that happen. It literally made it impossible. So, yeah, a lot of the money, the funding, and yeah, a lot of the opportunities for us aspiring actors became harder to come by. And it also, just because we're in a position at the moment in New Zealand and even just in the world, we're in such an, like, the rate of inflation is crazy
Oh,
everywhere.
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
not even just in New Zealand, And so, yeah, it's becoming a lot harder for us aspiring actors to be able to seize those opportunities. And yeah, I think the biggest challenge for actors is that acting is one of those careers that it's kind of out of your control in the sense of trying to find work.
Yeah.
There is a lot of things that you can do, and that is creating your own work, creating your own films, short films, shows, and a lot of that is great. It's amazing, but at the end of the day, all of that requires time and money, which
Yeah, for
a lot of
sure.
us don't have. And these opportunities with these big corporate companies that come over to New Zealand and give us these opportunities for shows and movies are amazing. But at this point, I feel like the industry is at a place where they're not giving us unknown actors
Yeah.
enough credit or giving us enough chances. I feel like a lot of these bigger actors, you'll be seeing that they're kind of in everything. Like,
Yeah.
you'll see the same actors in the next five or six blockbuster films. They'll be the same people.
Yeah.
Because they're the people in the faces that are bringing in the money. So all these companies are just kind of hiring the same people, which then just puts the whole thing a step back. So all of us younger actors who are trying to make it, I guess aren't really given that chance. So it is a challenge, and I wouldn't say that right now is is the only bad time it's been. It's always There's always been ups and downs throughout the industry and any creative arts industry. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, like, we just got to ride the wave, ride the ups and downs. We just
100%.
got to keep staying busy, which is what I'm trying to do. And one of the biggest pieces of advice I got was, if I'm still waiting for my next role and we're still trying to wait for the next acting gig to come up, just staying creative in any means possible is the best way to keep that
Momentum.
momentum, bro. Yeah, momentum, and keep that kind of mindset going of staying creative. And that
Yeah.
could be anything. It could be cooking, bro. It could be cooking, could be drawing, dancing. It could be anything, man. Doing this, creating content, it could be anything creative is so important for all of us to keep us going,
100%.
until those opportunities come about. So yeah, man, it's those challenges are always there, trying to wait for the right work, trying to wait for the right opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, we just gotta keep knowing that these hard times aren't gonna last forever.
I love that.
It's gonna get better. And me and you, like, we're fortunate to still be in our mid-20s. Like, we're not at that age yet where we need to be like real worried. Like, we can still experience things and ride them.
Yeah,
keep it
100%.
going, and then it always get better. No,
Now, I like how you said about, opportunity, staying creative,
yo,
being in that aspect of wanting to keep consistent with that creative aspect and
Yo.
go bit by bit
Yeah.
for when opportunity does come in. Just because Alex Hormozy is a guy I always listen to a lot. He talks about opportunity in the way of being, don't wait till an opportunity comes, then you start to practice.
Yeah.
Always go for your hard yards, always practice through.
Yes.
Because then when you get to the opportunity that comes through, you're ready.
exactly, bro.
And that's
exactly.
in terms of what you mentioned, bro, that so embodies everything that you just mentioned and
Yes.
in terms of how that all goes. That's why I believe in that heavy,
Yeah, definitely, man.
But then there's also understanding that with opportunities, there's always going to be like the mundane things that get in the way.
Yeah.
Life as general, sometimes you'll have your ups, your downs.
Yeah, bro.
And
Definitely.
it's just, you can't control it. It's life.
It's life, bro. Exactly, man. And I think that, without getting too deep, but like, I think that this generation it's definitely a lot harder to accept that, that life will just be like that, and that the mundane times will happen, and there'll be times where you feel like you're not doing anything, or you feel like you're wasting your time. But, that's just comes with all the social media and all the stuff of us trying to feel like in our mid-20s, we need to have everything sorted out, which is
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like, it's not the case. Like, we can take our time, we can enjoy life bit by bit, and we don't need to be like rushing into things because we see these like Twitch streamers or YouTubers at like 21 who are like millionaires, you know, like it's this whole expectation that the world is putting on the younger generation like us. And I feel like it's so important to just like take one thing at one step at a time, and just like you said at the start, enjoy the journey, you know, enjoy the process. Yeah.
So I'm not gonna lie to you, like Twitch streamers these days, some of them are actually kind of entertaining it.
Oh yeah,
but, like in a way, like I look at it and I laugh because I'm like, you know, with a lot of Twitch streamers that I see out there, there are some who, you know, are real like comedic.
Yep.
There's some who, you know, do like a lot of stupid stuff.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, the thing I always like in my head, I'm like, damn, they're playing a character, which you kind of know, like they're playing a character.
Yeah. Facts.
But then, like, the way that they gain their audience, you know, off comedy, like being stupid, or whether it's in a funny way or a good way.
Yeah.
The one thing I think about it in a way, it's like, let's say they do build their, you know, their fan base off, you know, being stupid, or, you know, being like a total ass within the whole, you know, world. Like, for example, like Fusi 2, like all of that stuff, you know? So like, in terms of them being an ass, the thing is like, the moment they decide to change, it's like, they have a big backlash. Or like, and that's kind of like where like a lot of their followers, they'll be like, oh, I didn't follow him because, you know, he wanted to become like this guy, like Andrew Tate. I followed him because he was an ass.
No,
I'm just like,
it's true, bro.
In my head, I'm just like, okay, you know, like people who put on these characters, will they regret it later on in their lives in terms of like, oh, because that's the fan base that they created based off a comedic aspect. Would they regret that? Or is that something that I feel, you know, with the streamers in general, like no matter how it goes, it's just the whole numbers game, you know, engagement and all that.
Definitely, bro. Definitely. I think in anything, like whether it's Twitch streaming, whether it's acting, whether it's, anything that you're trying to communicate something to an audience, like, I mean, any medium, I think authenticity is always, for me personally, authenticity is always the better route to go. Because like you said, you know, like if you're playing a character, that's all well and done, but then if you start to gain a following, or you start to gain popularity over that, that's what you're going to be known for, you know? And it's like take, I mean, obviously it's like the biggest end of the spectrum, but take Kai, for example, like Kai Cenat, he's just authentically himself. And I feel like that's what drew people to it. Whereas people like Fusi or like that guy Neon or anything, like I feel like those guys like have these characters, you know, and it's great. Like they found their audience with it, but like you said, it's hard for them to get out of it. And I think it is always important to just always accept the way that you've grown your following, because it's, I know that sometimes people try to get out of it and change those things, but I think you got to accept that, okay, I grew my following like this, so I have to try and like remember there's always going to be those people who will just want me for that, you know? And so it's just something you just got to think about, I guess. Do
you reckon it's a good thing, or like in a way where like people build off their following or their influence off like something that they're not, and then try and revert it? Do you think it's actually a good technique, like, or a tactic, do you reckon?
I think in some instances, definitely, bro. Definitely. I think in some instances it's definitely a tactic for sure. And I think there's no right or wrong way of doing it. I think it just all comes down to you can't blame viewers or an audience or a group of publics for having an opinion on you if you've not like lied to them, but if you've, you know,
portrayed yourself in that way,
portrayed yourself in a way that's not you, and then you try and be like, that's actually not actually me, you know? And it's that thing of being authentic, being genuine, or are you just trying to lie to your audience and be something, unless you've made that clear, you know? Like, this is a character, but this is also me, you know? So it's interesting, bro. It's a different world we live in, bro.
For 100%. And going back to where you mentioned about, you know, like they need to be authentic, and authenticity is kind of key. Was there like a moment in like your time where you realized maybe when you're doing your acting, when you're doing your creative dancing, you weren't as authentic as you wanted to be? Was there a time? Or anything like that you might have seen within your journey?
Man, it's a good question, bro. I feel like
if you need me an example, I can do an example if you need time to think. Like for example, like an example would be, you know, sometimes, you know, when you do certain things, for example, like I'd say in the music, like for me, for when I do music,
Yo.
there are things where I'd be like, I'll be, you know, playing because that's something that I like to enjoy.
Yeah.
But in a way, it's like if I hear some like people like saying things like in terms of like not really bad things,
Yeah.
but like in a way, it's like, oh, you should do it this way, you should do it that way.
Yeah.
I consider it in terms of like before I used to like not I used to listen and do
Yeah.
in a way, if that makes sense. I used to listen and do.
Yep.
Like nowadays, I listen, I take it, and if it makes sense, I'll do it. So like it's like I like choose if I want to do it or not, but make sure that it does make sense within me.
Yeah.
And then this authenticity
Yo.
aspect of it is some of the music that I've played wasn't true to what I've wanted to do. Like, you know, there'd be things where, for example, you know, I'll have you know, family be like, oh, nah, you have to play like this.
Yeah.
But because that's not me, like I'd be like, nah, I just don't feel like now I don't.
Yeah.
Because like to me, music's like a feeling, you know.
Yeah.
When you play, you have to feel the music, you have to be one with what you play.
Yeah. Definitely.
And if you're not true to yourself in that aspect, you kind of like don't give your best performance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it comes to that whole thing of like, am I not giving my best because I wasn't authentic to myself?
Yeah.
Or is it just an excuse that I blamed on everyone else?
Yeah. Nah,
So
bro,
hopefully that gives a bit of insight of that question that I mentioned before.
Yeah, definitely, bro. I think for me, going off that, I think one time that I could probably say that I was not as authentic to myself and what I wanted to do was probably when I got to my last few years of teaching dance to like younger kids. And I would say that I wasn't still not enjoying it, but I was definitely, I was giving them knowledge that wasn't knowledge that I guess I could say I didn't enjoy it. But to be honest, I wasn't enjoying giving knowledge anymore because I feel like I hadn't given myself time to retain more knowledge from elsewhere. Like I needed to learn more to be able to give to other people. Whereas I felt like I gave all my knowledge over a few years and then I was like, okay, cool. Now there needs to be a time where I just spend time for myself and I start to, you know, go to more trainings, go to more classes, learn some more knowledge, and then I can pass it on to the younger kids. But it got to the point where running a studio and running a business just became the main driver for it, rather than am I doing this because I want to do this and I'm doing this because that's the right thing, or am I doing this just because I need to keep the business afloat, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of thing with dance these days, and I think with especially dance studios in New Zealand, I feel like a lot of us aren't teaching the right things because we are just giving knowledge that we've taken from someone else, but we haven't actually internalized it in a way that we can give it across authentically. And I feel like this is going a bit more into the dance world, but
Yeah, for sure, bro.
I feel like that's why a lot of, especially in street dance, a lot of street dance styles get kind of passed on like unauthentically because people who are teaching them, and I can say that this was myself included at least 5 or 6 years ago, I was passing it on just because I'd learned it somewhere and I was like, okay, cool, for my business, for my studio, I need to teach to keep the business afloat. So let's just pass this on to the kids. But really, I wasn't actually internalizing what I learned, spending time on it, researching it, really understanding it to be able to give it across authentically. And I think, yeah, going off what you said at the beginning, yeah, that's definitely one thing where I think I wasn't being authentic. And that was actually the time, I think it was probably 2019 or 2020 when I decided to kind of stop my dance journey altogether. It was probably around then. I kind of stopped dance for at least 2 years. I focused on acting till about 2022, 2023, and also university. And then only literally probably just last year, end of last year, I started reigniting that passion for dance.
Wow.
And I think that's really important, you know? I think it's important to realize that sometimes your passions can become stale, and it's really good to just kind of give it a break sometimes and then come back to it when you've found a better mindset to look at things, you know? And yeah, I think this year I've definitely gotten back into my street dance and I've definitely found a new love for it that I didn't have before. And I honestly think that's just because I've matured and I've just been able to see things a bit differently, you know?
Nice.
And at the end of the day, I'm doing it for myself and I'm not doing it for anyone else, you know?
I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Just while we're in the topic of dance as well, bro.
Yo.
I remember when, we used to work together back in Monaco. Like, I knowing you to, be that dancer, that's how I first, like, when you mentioned that you're a dancer, acting as well. One thing that came to mind that really shocked me when you mentioned is tap dancing. So, like, Jay, I was like, that, like, I've heard of like contemporary, like when people talk about it, I do contempt, like, I'm a street dancer. But when you mentioned, tap dancing, I was like, oh, like, that's actually new. Like, I actually don't know. I don't know anyone that tap dance. The question that I do want to know is, what got you into tap dancing?
Yeah, man. Oh, bro, it's a crazy story. So, like, the reaction that you just had to, tap dance is the reaction that everyone has in New Zealand, especially. And I think it's because tap dance is so niche. And I got into tap dance because generally at most dance studios, or at least dance studios back in the day where I grew up, you would learn a plethora of styles. Most of them was hip hop, contemporary, jazz, ballet, and tap dance. And tap dance was definitely always taught in, I guess, a 90s sense where it was very, top hat with the canes and musical theater tap, And it was kind of in New Zealand, I guess, more directed towards girls. And it's always been a kind of male-dominated dance. And still a lot of guys did it, but definitely a lot of girls got into tap dance. And for myself in my journey in tap, it was mainly actually my older brother who was very into tap dance.
Wow.
And he was the one who really kind of paved the way for me to start getting back into it, because he had been tapping, or we both had been tapping since we were children. And as I got to about 15, I kind of phased away from it, but he kind of kept going, and he ended up becoming the national champion of New Zealand at 15, which was crazy. He absolutely smashed it. And even from then, he just kept going and kept doing it. And now we've come to the point where we were like, you know what, like tap dance, and everyone says this, everyone's like, whenever we tell people about tap dance, they're like, oh, like this is dancers we're talking to, right?
Yeah.
We're like, oh yeah, like we do tap dance. And they're like, oh yeah, tap dance is dying, eh? And we're like, oh, well, that's why we're going to start creating stuff ourselves. And they're like, oh, that's so cool. And we're like, you want to be a part of it? And they're just like, oh, nah. It's like, when you're trying to revive a dance style, it's really tough. But we created this thing called Tap NZ. And it's a group at the moment, and we're trying to grow it bigger. And it's just a platform where we can just bring anybody that wants to learn tap dance, and it doesn't even need you. Oh, sorry.
Nah, you're all good, bro.
You don't even have to have done any dance, but you can come in, you can learn tap dance. And we just wanted to show that tap dance is cool. Like, at the end of the day, like if I went back into the history of tap dance, it started off with the Black American communities, with a bunch of Irish influence as well. And it started off as the original Black American street dance, like before hip hop, before all that, it was tap. And it wasn't even with metal plates on their shoes. It was just them stamping their feet with drums to music, Oh, and from there, it's like this whole tap dance genre has kind of become something else. And it's coming back to that point where, tap dance is getting to that more kind of raw feeling to it. But especially in New Zealand, it's like nothing. It's like near to none. And there was a time when there was a lot of amazing tap dancers that were kind of holding down the scene. But ever since probably the last 5 or 6 years, it's definitely become a very individual dance style of like, this person does tap dance and they compete against this person, and that's like it. But we wanted to create like a community of people that can come together and enjoy this dance style. We created Tap NZ. We did our first ever tap dance show that we can confidently say this was the first ever tap dance show in New Zealand ever.
Oh wow!
And
nice.
Solely tap dance, and we did a whole story behind it. It was a collaboration show, so it had tap dance collaborating with live music. We had a live band on stage playing. We also had other dance styles like popping. We had house dance. We had Irish dance. We had contemporary. It was awesome, man. We had so much stuff. We had swing dance as well.
Yeah.
It was really cool, and that was definitely something we wanted to do first, just to show even just a small audience that, we want this to happen, and that we want people to see that tap dancers, at the end of the day, tap dance is cool. Like, we want to show people it's dope. And yeah, this is something that we're creating, and it'll be a few more months that we're trying to create things and get it all sorted, but we're definitely going to start doing classes soon.
Nice.
Bring people into it, and start creating a community. And it's literally less about making money out of it or competing out of it or showing that we're better than anyone else. It's literally we just want to grow it. We just want to show people that tap dance is sick and you should come learn it,
Nice.
Yeah.
I think I came across one of the videos when you guys first started showing content on it.
Yeah.
With the live band. I think it was you and your brother dancing with the live band. I actually didn't notice that you how you can interpret the two. I've noticed you can do that with normal it's just something that I knew it worked, but didn't really think that could actually be a possibility,
Of course, bro, of course.
So then when I saw it, I was just like, yo, that's actually me, you're tapping with the beat as they're playing at the same time.
Exactly.
And then you're also showing the moves and how it all goes. But it's just me and how you interpret, different types of performing art styles and just put them all into one.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
And also with your next, World of Dance that's next?
World of Dance is next, bro. Yeah. I'm not too sure when this episode will be out, but we would have competed at World of Dance on the 29th of March. And our literal goal, and I can say this confidently, man, our goal for that competition is literally not to compete. We don't want to try and say that we're better than anyone else. We literally just want to show people what we're about. And we just want to show that this is tap dance. This is where it's going, and we want everyone to be a part of it. That's all.
For sure.
It's more of a space to just be to show off what we can do and show off the power of tap dance, and that tap dance is the only dance style that creates its own music. You don't need a track to dance to, you don't need sound to dance to, because you're creating the sound yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
It's literally you have musical instruments on your feet and you're playing the music and dancing at the same time, and it's such a unique style compared to everything else. And that's our next step, man. World of Dance coming up. And we just hope that everyone enjoys the performance, man.
I love that, bro.
Yo.
So with that, so as you mentioned, so this, I'm planning this will probably drop next week.
Oh, me?
Yeah, so this one's probably drop next week.
Oh, awesome.
So definitely, it's definitely good insight to just to understand that whole universe.
Yeah.
But I realize, I think, or not really realize, but I kind of know that it is a niche field that you guys are in. So
very.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's a small community as well. So
yes.
With this, you guys are putting into that next step of going into the world of dance and making a name for your guys' selves, just putting it on the map. You can see it in the long, in my mind, I can see that in the long run. That's something that you could probably say when time comes that you were a part of that journey.
Definitely,
and have that passion for it.
Definitely, bro. Definitely, because when you have different niche ideas or a business or something, there's always gonna be one other person doing that. But for us in tap dance and creating a tap dance community and a group in New Zealand, there's literally no one doing that. There's people teaching tap dance, and there's kids doing tap dance, and I guess a few adults who still do tap dance. But in terms of creating a community and a group that all Kiwis and New Zealanders and people who just live in Aotearoa can come together and learn this amazing style, literally zero people are doing that. So it is really niche, and it's something we want to grow. And at the end of the day, like I said, it's great because it's not driven by money. It's not driven by popularity. It's literally just driven by passion and the love of the dance style, and us wanting to bring that and bring more people into it,
I love that, bro.
Yeah, dude.
With just dance in general, or going back to just dance in general.
Yeah.
Do you think with dance and acting, so with the both, because of course they're both in the performing arts industry. Do they have much of a, what's the word?
A crossover?
Yeah. Do they have much of a crossover in terms of that?
Yeah, bro. Definitely, man. I mean,
because the one I can think of at the moment is emotion. The way they dance with emotion is the same way, how we portrayed with Andrew Garfield. And all that stuff. Acting has a certain type of emotion.
Definitely.
And that was the only way I kind of knew in terms of crossing that platform over.
Yes.
That's kind of what they both have. But are there things that people out there don't really know, that dancing and acting can work together or cross over?
100%, man. Definitely. I think the biggest thing with dance is that if you strip everything away and strip away the music, strip away the emotion, the main thing we're doing when we're dancing is we're exploring with movement, movement of our bodies. And with acting, there's so many different styles of acting, whether it's on screen, whether it's on the stage and theater. And all the time when you're playing characters, you're always giving your character some sort of very specific movement that is unique to them, whether it could be a way that they walk, whether it could be a way that they pick something up, the way that they use their arms. And yeah, having that experience in dance and having this very strong, like, kind of mind-body connection of knowing how my body moves, how it works, and being very used to that, it definitely has a very good impact towards acting, because acting is very about creating something and creating characters, creating moments, creating emotion through your emotion, but also adding in that movement as well. And I think if you're trying to create a very complex character, for example, if you're not very used to using your body in very unique or strange ways, it does provide a bigger challenge to do that and to feel natural doing different things with your body. But it's because if you've had some experience in dance, or if you've explored that type of performing arts a bit more, it definitely has a crossover. And yeah, that's kind of in the general sense of things. But I think, like, they call this like the triple threat, where it's like if you can act, you can dance, and you can sing, you're like the best performing artist, right?
Oh man.
And I think the biggest, or I guess most talented, skillful medium of all those things together is like musicals,
Yeah.
Like when you act, you sing, and you dance at the same time. And it's so cool how there's a lot of musical films now that are becoming kind of a trend, with, like, you got Bohemian Rhapsody, you had Rocket Man, like with Queen and Elton John. You had that one coming out recently with what was it? Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name. With Timothy Chalamet, with Bob Dylan, oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of the film, but nominated for an Oscar for it. And the singing, the movement, the acting as well, like all those things coming together, it definitely allows you to be open to more opportunities. And yeah, the crossover is very imminent, and I think it's super important to have training in those three different areas of voice or singing, acting, or being very in touch with your emotional side, and then also movement or dance. Like those three things, it all kind of comes together, and then there's all these other sides of like script writing and directing and that, which is like all these other things.
Yeah.
It's
like a whole
piece. Definitely. But the crossover is very, very useful,
Wow.
So I'm very blessed to have had those two things, and even a bit of singing as well, like having a little bit of experience in that. It was very, very helpful.
Yeah. Have you like had any with combining all, like, with that cross?
Yeah.
Has there been any like challenges like that kind of happened towards it? Like, because I know, like, as you mentioned before, the triple threat, or having that whole thing, it works in each way as possible.
Yeah.
But are there things, for example, when there are things you do when you're dancing, there's things what you do when you're acting, and there's two totally separate fields.
Yes.
But were there any challenges of being able to manage the two together for you?
Bro, the funniest thing is that this is something that my acting coach and my drama teacher from school would always tell me. This is just like a funny thing, but since I grew up as a dancer, whenever I act or whenever I was doing a scene, I couldn't stop moving. Like, I just couldn't. Like, I'd always be like fiddling, or I'd be walking around, or I'd be pacing. And I think it's just because when I'm like performing per se, my body just wants to move, and it's so not used to being still. So that was probably a big challenge for me, was trying to, get my mind out of being a mover and just being in the sense of being myself and having just a human interaction by not adding in that movement, which feels a bit unnatural. But the funniest thing is that, like, even me as a person, or even you'll talk to any dancer who's really into their dancing, even when they're just talking to you normally, they'll be like doing some kind of movement, like, so like to me that's kind of natural, just like doing something random. So in order to like, I guess, like, yeah, filter that out when trying to play a character, that was probably a challenge for me. But I guess in the overall sense, I wouldn't say there was much of a challenge or an obstacle. I think it was more the benefits of having them both was a big advantage, I'd say.
Oh,
And
nice.
like for example, when I did Toy Time, that kids show was an amazing experience, and yeah, it was so cool to have little aspects of dance. We had to sing and we had to act in it, and it was so cool. It felt real fun. It felt like I was performing on stage again for a dance event, but I was also able to play this real out there character. And I also got to sing, which I hadn't done in years, but it felt so good to be able to bring that back. So that was real fun. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yo,
I feel like there's like what is it? The one thing when you mentioned toy time,
yeah,
the one thing I thought of was when we were working together,
yeah.
and then you remember that kid that walked in.
Oh, yes, bro.
That kid
Yes.
that walked in, he was like, "Are you that guy from the ad?" But it was just crack up because you're like to me, you would have like I thought people would be like, "Yeah, that's me," but you're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, that's me." Like nonchalant as you're like, "Yeah, that's me." And the way about like it was just like a, and then I think when the kid was like, "Can I take a photo?" Everything, you're like, "Oh yeah, all good." And then I felt like the one thing that that was such a funny moment for me because I was just
Nah, I
like,
remember that.
I like crack up as Monaco times.
Monaco times, man. Nah, like that was so funny, bro. And like, look, at the end of the day, like I'm not gonna say that like I got famous from that ad, but I got so much recognition from that one commercial, which was so funny. And yeah, nah, it just got to the point, which was this was like kind of the toxic way of seeing it, right? Was I got recognized from it so much that in my head I was like, oh, bro, like I'm only ever gonna be recognized from this advert.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
not from anything else. I think that's why, like, when it first came out, or maybe even a year after it came out, like every day at work when we were working in the store, bro, like there was always like 2 or 3 people that would be like, "You're from that ad, yo," and they'd always be super nice and be like, "You're awesome," and I was like, "Thanks," but I was also like in my head, I was like, "Oh man, I'm only known from this thing." So that was just a toxic way of seeing it, eh? But at the end of the day, super grateful for that. Like, super grateful that I got to be a part of that commercial that was so big and that everyone saw. And yeah, like at the end of the day, people enjoyed it. People thought it was
Yeah.
cool. So it's just a big compliment. And I think I think I need to learn to, if that ever happens again, I just need to learn to take it more to the heart
Yeah.
rather than hitting my ego. You know?
I felt like
yeah.
even though like you might have saw that they might have had the ego side of thing as
Yeah.
well. What I noticed from that interaction is because when I talked to you about it afterwards,
Yeah.
you said, "Oh, like it's." Yeah, I think it's not. I don't know if it's the exact words, but you
Yeah.
mentioned it's not. I'm glad people seen my work and everything, but it's not what I want to be known for.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when I heard that from you, I'm like, yo, like that's something that a person who wants to be known for bigger things and has a goal to have that
Yeah.
type of thing,
Yeah. Definitely.
stems from, because you don't want to be known for something that you did ages ago. You want to be known
Yeah.
for the things you do now,
Yeah.
or for something bigger in the future.
Yes. Yes,
And it
definitely.
actually, like for me, it has like a testament to your character in terms of how you kind of
Thanks, man.
put yourself out there.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing is, what I kind of want to know now is, what's the next push with, being with the acting? Is there like
Yes.
things that you want to, like pursue more within it, or is it just focusing more on the dance for now and kind of going into that?
Yeah, man, for sure, for sure. I think at this point in time, I had this conversation with my partner recently, and it was about the whole aspect of putting my all into acting, which comes across in different ways, because some people see putting their all into acting as not having a full-time job, going every day to be writing a script or learning a script and filming themselves through that script, so it's in their little folder of of scenes that they have that they can send to people. Helping others out with short films. It could be being very active at the acting agency they're a part of to help out there. And yeah, it can be all those things. All of that stuff is great. I super respect people who just do the quote unquote go all in for acting,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
And I'm in the position now where I still work full time. I still want to go all in for acting, and I want to make it my career, and I really want to put my all into it. But at the same time, I feel like I can still put my all into it and be able to pursue other things. And I think it's
Nice.
all about just finding that balance and being able to know that at the end of the day, like anything creative is going to benefit you. You know, like if I'm
100%.
involved in the dance industry, there's there's no there's I'll never know who I'm gonna meet. I might meet some random big director when I'm in there, you know,
Yeah, 100%.
and then that could boost off my acting career. Like I don't think I need to be doing my all into acting for to be able to make it.
Yeah,
quote,
100%.
per se. And like I said, like this is no want to put down anyone else. I just think for me personally, being able to work, to be able to make a living, to be able to save money in this economy at this time, to be able to I've taken on learning Te Reo Māori as well. So I'm doing that as well. To be able to start a dance business with my brother and my family, be able to do that and still be able to pursue acting at the same time is still something I feel like I'm still doing enough. And I think my
Nice.
next big step is definitely to do more work, and that can be in anything acting wise. It could be I would do like I would work in a film for free at this point. You know, like
Yeah,
I
100%.
would I would love to just play and work and just have fun and experience and learn. I wouldn't. It's not even about the money or not that it ever was, but I'm saying like it's not even about the money at all. It's more about just wanting to just do more. And
100%.
I know that I am in the position where I can like put myself out there more and be more available and stuff. But at the same time, like if I'm happy in my journey, if I'm happy with the things I'm doing currently, and if I have, which is important, a good work-life balance, I think that's the best position I could be in, and I feel like I'm in that position at the moment. So yeah,
Nice.
yo,
I love that, bro. Um, in terms, how you kind of like put that all together.
yo,
The one, what is it? The one thing that I keep going back to or keep thinking of is, what's that word? Flip, I just had it in my head. The one thing, hearing your journey, having multiple things to,
yes,
stay busy with.
Yo,
And also, as you mentioned, no matter what field you kind of go into, there might be an opportunity that comes up in different aspects.
yeah, yeah,
There's this thing where, well, it could be within acting itself, but also within just people's lives.
yo,
They go to different places to where it's pursued the most
Yes.
for that better opportunity.
yes, yes, yes.
Do you think if you were to pursue acting full time, that
Yeah.
would have been a field that you would have been to? Like, for example, what I know is in order, like, I don't know if this is true or not.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
But in order to be a great actor, you go to the States and
Yeah,
you do
yeah.
it that way.
Definitely.
Is that like something that you would have thought of, or is that something that'd be like, oh, like that's what a lot of people do, but then it's like a 50-50 moment?
100%, man. Definitely. I think that it's a very, very good plan, and it's a great idea to travel overseas and to pursue acting or in any industry you want to, if it's more active in that place. Like you said, yep, it is a big risk. And I think I will definitely do that one day, whether it be Australia, whether it would be America, and yeah, really pursue my passion for acting overseas. That's definitely a goal of mine. I think just for as of the moment right now, everywhere in the world is struggling in this industry of acting. It's not really any better anywhere else. You could say that yep, Australia has a bit more work going on. There's a few more shows being cast and stuff, but when it comes to the bigger picture, there is still a lot going on in New Zealand, and it's still on the rise. And I still have a lot of things keeping me here as of the moment.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think I'm happy to ride this wave of seeing where the industry is going within New Zealand first. Because I've known friends who just really unfortunately in the last few years have gone overseas and tried to make it, but just unfortunately, it's just been so quiet. And that's the risk they're willing to take, and they're happy to, pardon me, they're happy to do those things. But yeah, I think for me, as of the moment, I'm kind of just trying to do everything I can in New Zealand. This is actually a little piece of advice I got from Carl Urban was, yeah, he said that when he came to one of our classes, we asked him that question, should we go overseas? Should we try and make it big? And he said, yeah, it's really important to try and squeeze everything you can out of the place that you're in, especially in New Zealand, because having some experience under your belt and having something you can show a director overseas is going to mean way more than just having a great acting skill set. Like, I'm a great actor. I know I'm a great actor. People think I'm a great actor. Let's go over there and try and make it. There's so many people in America and Australia that will be just as good as you. But if you've done something in New Zealand that people know you for, and people have enjoyed, and you've touched them in a type of way, if you show that to a director, they're going to think that experience is more important than a skill set, because there's a big difference. There's a big gap there of someone who's never been on set before, but who has done every class in the world, compared to someone who has done one or two classes, but they've had the experience, so they've learnt on the job. And I think that's important to have. So yeah, that was a good piece of advice I got, was to just try and do as much as I can here. Because do you know who Carl Urban is, by the way?
No.
Have you watched The Boys? The with Homelander and stuff? The Boys, the superhero one? I know it's on Prime. Or if you've seen Lord of the Rings or or Dread. He's a very big New Zealand actor.
I feel like I know him by face.
Yeah. Carl Urban's a big New Zealand actor. Had the pleasure of him just kind of observing one of our classes, and yeah, that was a big piece of advice we got from him, was that he's done a lot in New Zealand, and as much as the industry isn't that great right now, he did say, just keep pursuing it and keep pushing through, because experience that you get in New Zealand is valued very highly overseas. So
wow.
Yeah, man. The goal is to go there, but I think I've got unfinished work here,
Yeah, 100%.
Unfinished goals in New Zealand still. Yeah.
That's actually mean, bro, because that piece of information, I feel like for me it's something that holds a lot of value. That piece of information.
Yeah.
Because for example, I'll put myself in the situation. I'm planning to. Well, the plan was, to move to Dubai. And that was just because of the tax benefits, and also the people around, you're surrounded by millionaires.
Yes.
And in that aspect.
Yes.
But with what you just mentioned as well, squeezing the opportunity out of squeezing everything that within NZ holds, because it's valued overseas.
Yeah.
I never thought of it from that lens.
Yeah.
So then that's a perspective that I can be far. Because I was just gonna, do what I do just normally as it goes, and then you jolt off and then just gap.
Yeah.
But then being able just to, think about it from the way you've said it, and just bring it all into one and be this is something a lot of people can benefit off. You know?
Definitely.
A lot of people within NZ itself, they don't, they have experience in some sorts, but they don't want to go to the yards to fulfill what they need to fulfill.
Yeah, definitely.
Or there's a clueless, what is it? I usually call these people a clueless wanderer.
Yeah.
Where they're just walking the earth with nothing to give.
Yeah,
and,
bro. Yes.
And I feel they really need to, with New Zealand being a small place and having a lot, instead of jumping to the next place, for example, to, have a certain career.
Yeah.
Be content with where you are.
Yeah.
Hone in everything that's around you.
Definitely.
And you'll be able to experience, as you mentioned, have everything all set up. And then when time comes where you have the opportunity to shoot through, everything will be in place.
Exactly.
You have everything to back that up.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. I literally, oh man, it slipped my mind already, but that quote you just said before about opportunities.
Yeah.
Being ready for them, to making the most out of what you have. But when those big moments happen that bring you over there, be ready to go do it, take the risk. Risks are important, but don't feel like you need to rush into it,
Nice.
Yeah.
Bro, so insightful, man.
Nah, bro, of course, man. It's what it's all about, man. Just trying to give off our perspective on things, Yeah. Anything
with your journey coming up, because we understand the tap, and all that's coming up as well. Is there anything next for you within what's coming ahead of time? What do you think you're working on at the moment?
Yeah, man, a few things, bro. Definitely want to try and create some more stuff this year with Tap NZ. We want to try and bring some open workshops, intensives to others, and really try and market towards the people who had known nothing about Tap and who just want to give it a go. And one of the main things that we're going to try and do is, one of the main excuses people have, I should say first, is I don't own a pair of Tap shoes. So we're going to try and have like a bunch of Tap shoes already so that you can just come to class, chuck a pair on and just have a jam. Nice. And I think that's one of our main goals, is to try and invite people into that space. So that's kind of what we're doing with that. With me personally, man, I'm just really trying to upskill and keep exploring and keep creating new things within the acting world. And I think it comes down more to knowing myself as a person. I think the more I know myself, the more I know who I am, what I want, how I think, the more I'm in touch with myself, I feel like I'll be able to be more confident when I can go into these characters and create these roles for acting. Because at the end of the day, like, this is mainly for screen acting that I'm pursuing at the moment. Yeah, I need to be my truest self in order to show something authentic. And it may be a character that's a psychopath or a murderer, but as long as I'm bringing something real to it that's authentic to me, but creating a character within an imaginary world that's not real, it just is a very important, I think, for myself to be able to bring that to it so that I can create something that people think or can see that is real. But I know for myself, once the camera cuts, it's not real. It's just imaginary at the end of the day.
100%.
But knowing myself is important to be able to create those characters and to create those spaces. And that's kind of my main thing, just taking it one step at a time, discovering new experiences, and being more in touch with myself. And like I said at the beginning of this pod, just accepting that I have a lot of positive things in my life that others don't. And I need to be very appreciative of those and not compare myself to others that may be succeeding maybe past me or succeeding in a way of that I'm maybe envious of. I need to always just accept that there's a lot of things that I'm grateful for, and I need to always know that I can aspire and be inspired by people, but I should always try not to compare myself that I'm never going to make it, or I'm never gonna get there. Because at the end of the day, like, we're all on our own journey. We're all trying to get there ourselves, and everyone has their own struggles, man. And I think that as long as we all understand that about each other, I feel like we'll all be able to get along better as people, and I feel like there'll be less negativity in the world.
100%.
Yeah,
I love that. For someone who's like actually starting out in dance or acting, what would you say to kind of help them navigate the ups and downs within their journey?
For sure, man, for sure. I think whether it is acting or dance, I think at the end of the day, it is kind of a step where it comes down to doing something that's outside of yourself, because dancing and acting is literally just a way to express yourself in a creative platform that you can get out of your everyday life, With dance especially, dance is a way where you can express yourself through movement, and being able to come to terms with being vulnerable and just moving to a piece of music or moving to nothing is such a freeing experience. And I think when you really start to accept that there's no right or wrong when it comes to anything creative, you'll put a lot of less pressure on yourself to just give things a go. Wow. And if someone just wants to get into dance, the simple answer would just be, just go for it and just give yourself a piece of music and do it with someone who is wanting to do the same thing. I think having some kind of companionship through a new journey is very important. And if you don't have that, it's totally fine. I think that anyone can do anything as long as they put their mind to it. And with acting, same kind of vibe, man. Like, just finding a space, because there's so many spaces in New Zealand or even in overseas as well, a space that others are pursuing this whole thing as well, and it's just giving it a go, man. And at the end of the day, creativity is always subjective. Don't ever think that if someone says, "Oh, your acting's bad" or "your dancing's bad," like, yes, take those things and get advice, but never think that that's going to define your craft or your creativity. Because at the end of the day, creativity is all subjective, and we're all just creating stuff for the love of it, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, and putting energy into it, you know?
I love that.
So yeah, man, just give it a go. Just go out there and do it, man.
Hell yeah.
Yo.
If you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
Ooh, one piece of advice. I think it would be, and this is something I'm still telling myself now. No matter what it is, everything will always work out. I think it'll always work out. No matter throughout the ups and downs, everything could be in the worst way possible. Everything will always work out. And the way that we do that is just being true to ourselves. Just do what you know is right. Do what you think is right. And always be selfless. If we be selfless and take the attention off of ourselves and put it onto other people,
Wow.
there's a way that the world will always, and it I guess comes to that whole thing around karma, but if we take attention off ourselves and put it onto others and always do the right thing, it always come back to us in some way. And it's not about waiting for it to come back to us. It's just knowing that it'll work out as long as we're taking attention off ourselves, being selfless, and helping others or giving to others, you know? So yeah, just knowing that, which is still something that I'm I wouldn't say waiting for, but it's still something that I am discovering and thinking about, but something I definitely believe in, and I think my younger self would definitely not be thinking about that right now. So yeah, definitely, man.
Love that answer, bro.
Yo.
Just also before we kind of finish off today, I do have a couple questions, like quick fire rounds. So they're basically just
let's do it.
Quick questions, whether you can give me one word answers or just short sentences.
Sweet.
On how you go.
I love that.
But usually I just add these in. This as a little breaker.
I love that. Let's do it. Shoot.
All right, ready?
Yo.
First question. What's your go-to motivational song or motivation song?
Oh my gosh. Quick fire, right? I Have the Tiger.
I have to tell you, yes, sir.
Yo.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
A night owl. For sure.
If you could have dinner with one actor or dancer, dead or alive, who would it be?
It would be Michael Jackson, 100%. Yo.
If you weren't a dancer or aspiring actor, what would you be doing?
Something within entertainment. Yeah.
What's one thing you do every morning to set a positive tone for your day?
Ooh. Breathe in the fresh air. Yo, straight up.
How do you celebrate your wins, big or small?
Ooh, celebrate my wins, big or small. Celebrate it with others.
Beautiful. What's one habit or practice you swear by to keep your mind sharp?
Ooh, have a balance between work and play.
If you could switch lives with any animal for a day, which one would it be and why?
Ooh, animal. Probably a cat, eh? That'll be kind of funny, eh? Like seeing where they go, bro, during the day. I always have a cat where I never know where he goes, and then I'm like, fuck, and then he just appears outside my room, and I'm like, fuck, where were you the whole day? Yo, a cat, yeah, a cat for sure.
They're always making mischief somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
And this question was from the last guest I had on.
Oh, okay.
He didn't know, there's no base round or anything. He didn't know who it was.
Sweet.
But the question he stated is, how do you inspire others?
I think that I like to inspire others by giving them something that I haven't even figured out myself. Like being able to learn something with someone else. Like if I've got, for example, I know this is meant to be quick fire, but if I've
all good, bro.
If I've got a goal towards something and I'm thinking I need to do this towards that goal, I would inspire others by trying to get them to do that as well, because being able to share that journey with someone else there's always such a good motivator, and it always helps knowing that you're not the only person out there doing that, you know? I feel like if I'm like, I've achieved this and the way I did this was to do that, I don't know. For me personally, I feel like if I heard that from someone, I'd be like, that's cool, but it's like, I'm not you though. But if I'm telling you to do something that hasn't even been done before, it's like, okay, well, let's see if that works. Let's discover that together. So I feel like inspiring someone by saying, we should do this, and I believe it'll work, but let's try to do that together. I feel like that's the way. Yeah.
And so this one would be my last one is, what is the question that you would give the next guest? But this guest will be like 2 weeks through.
Yo, for sure. I think my question would be, how do you bring creativity into your life? Because I think it's very important, and I think we should all have an aspect of creativity in any medium. So yeah, how do you bring creativity into your life?
I love that.
Yo.
Definitely whoever that next guest is will need to think of something.
Yo, man. Nah, that last question was good too, man, from that last guest. Like, yeah, how do you inspire others? Man, it's a tough one, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
When I mentioned it to him, I was like, oh, you won't know who it is, bro. So,
Yo.
So he's like sitting there like, okay, that's the question.
Mate.
But no, other than that, bro, that brings us like kind of to the end of today's segment. I just want to say, thank you heaps.
Oh, thank you for having me, bro.
Appreciate your time and everything like that. Where can people find you, bro?
Yeah, man. I'd say for myself, just on Instagram, Cameron Carter Chan would be the way to find me through my socials, and through our tap dance company, it will be Tap NZ or Tap NZ Official on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
Definitely, people out there, go follow, go keep updated with the post.
Yes.
It's definitely something new coming into the scene, so getting everything ready for a big year ahead.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, bro, again, appreciate your time. Appreciate everything that you've brought to the page. Definitely an open perspective, and definitely what you have put in has a lot of tool behind it.
Thank you.
And definitely a lot of people out there will definitely benefit from this for sure.
Oh, man. Hopefully they do, bro.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you. And other than that, we're closing this off. Latest.
Shit.